choice of meeting place.
They said I'd have to intrigue you.
Skaro, the original planet of the Daleks. You are, and you don't even know it.
Oh wow. Jeez, what? Daleks in the shape of humans?
Your husband is here.
I don't have a husband.
Oh, well, apparently you still do.
Wow.
You have to sign these.
And then we're not married.
Just like magic.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't.
How much trouble, Mr. Pond? Out of 10?
Hey, look at this.
11.
Ah! I mean, the Daleks are... Yeah, I was gonna say, they're back. Oh, they're back. The Daleks are back. In a grand manner.
Save us.
Huh. How about that? Okay, this keeps it interesting. I like it.
This is you.
Yeah.
Day 363.
Ah!
Era continues.
Yes. Yes.
Also, made another
The battle scarred, the insane. The ones even you can't control.
Dalek Khan.
It is offensive to us to extinguish such divine hatred.
This signal is being received from the very heart of the asylum.
Ah, it's her.
Hello? Hello, Carmen? Hello?
Ah.
Hello?
Come in, come in. Come in, Carmen.
Are you real? Are you actually properly real?
She's so cute.
Confirmed, actually properly real.
The asylum force field is impenetrable.
Turn it
Hmm.
It can only be turned off from within the asylum.
You've got to go in.
Task Force. What do the Daleks do when they're too scared?
The predator of the Daleks will be deployed.
You don't have a predator, and even if you did, why would they turn off a force field for you?
It is known that the Doctor requires companions.
Oh,
Who's scared? Geronimo.
Ah. Ah. Oh. Oh. Easy now, Rory. Don't touch it, don't touch it. Oh, wow.
won't you introduce us to your crew?
Ugh.
Yeah, sorry. Guys, this is the Doctor and Amy.
Oh, is he gone a bit loopy? Yeah, he's gone a bit loopy.
Oh my god.
Is it bad that I've really missed this?
Yes. Oh no. What is wrong with my chin?
The lady in red, my favorite.
eye out.
Speaking of Rory, is there anything that you want to tell me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this now. Well, what happened? Stuff, you know, we split up. What can you do?
Ah.
What can I do?
Nothing. It's not one of those things you can fix like you fix your bow tie. It's life. Just life, that thing that goes on when you're not there.
Mm. Still, I'm sad about it. Really sad.
Eggs. You mean those things? I don't
Exterminate.
know what you want.
Rory, my dude, you gotta run. Whoa. Whoa. Listen, you know, they're putting Amy and Rory in a lot of danger here. I did not expect this.
First boy I ever fancied was called Rory.
Hey.
Actually, she was called Nina. I was going through a phase.
Ah.
Just flirting to keep you cheerful.
Yeah, good approach.
Well, what comes first? How does it start?
With your mind, your feelings, your memories, and I'm sorry, but it started already.
How do you know?
Because we've had this conversation 4 times.
Oh, wow.
In there quickly.
Something interesting about her, for sure.
Okay, you're safe for now. Pop your shirt off quick as you like.
Why?
Does there have to be a reason?
Oswin? Oswin, can you hear me?
She'll open it.
Hello, the chin. I have visual on you.
And how are you going to do that, Dalek? Without a gun, you're a tricycle with a roof. How are you going to destroy me?
Oh wow, self-destruction.
Self-destruct initiated. Countermanded.
I'm not looking for a counterman, dear. I'm looking for reverse.
Because we're the Daleks.
Who do you think?
Oh, that scared me.
Do you remember me?
She remembers.
She remembers me.
Same old Amy. In no particular order, we need to neutralize all the Daleks in this asylum, rescue Oswin from the wreckage, escape from this planet, and fix Amy and Rory's marriage.
Okay, I'm counting 3 lost causes. Anyone else?
Oswin, there's a Dalek ship in orbit.
This place is crawling with Daleks.
She's interesting.
Kind of why I'm anxious to leave. Come up and see me sometime.
There's certainly more to her.
I don't think that we have a choice. Okay, as soon as the force field is down, the Daleks will attack.
Is she a prisoner? Maybe she's meant to stay in there. And they're about to get her out of there. Let her free.
They're subtracting love. Don't let them.
I'm going to take this off my wrist and put it on yours.
Why? Then
Oh.
I'll start converting you. That's not fair.
Yeah, but it will buy us time because it will take longer with me.
Sorry, what?
It subtracts love, that's what she said.
What's that got to do with it?
Mm.
What does that even mean?
Amy, basic fact of our relationship is that I love you more than you love me, which today is good news because it might just save both of our lives.
How can you say that?
2,000 years waiting for you outside a box, saying it because it's true. And since you know it's true, give me your arm. Amy!
Ooh.
Amy, you kicked me out!
You want kids. You have always wanted kids. And I can't have them.
Oh.
I know.
Whatever they did to me at Demon's Run,
Oh.
I can't ever give you children.
Oh, okay.
I didn't kick you out. I gave you up.
She wants him to have children.
Don't you dare talk to me about waiting outside a box because that is nothing. Rory, nothing compared to giving you up.
Whoa. Look at this.
Tell me I'm cool, chin boy.
Yeah. Hella cool.
I hacked into it, did a master delete on all the information connected with the Doctor.
Oh.
You made them forget me.
Good, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, you're right outside coming in.
Oswin, we have a problem.
Oh, she's a Dalek.
Rescue me, chin boy, and show me the stars.
Does it look real to you?
Where am I? Where am I?
Because
Interesting.
You are a Dalek.
Egg.
Exterminate.
Me.
Wow, so how is she going to become Clara?
I am Oswin Oswald. I fought the Daleks and I am.
Human.
Wow.
Remember me.
Thank you.
Run, you clever boy. And remember.
You'll meet again. In her human form, somehow.
How long can we wait?
The rest of our lives.
Agreed.
He'll see that and be like, oh, good. It's a moment, Doctor. You can't break it up.
Identify. Identify.
It's me. You know me. The Doctor.
Oh,
The oncoming storm. The Predator.
they don't remember.
Are not meaningful in this context. Doctor Who?
Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, you did it to them all.
That's insane.
You beauty.
Yeah, she's a beauty, all right.
Fellas, you're never gonna stop asking.
Okay, good. That look. Yeah, time to go inside. Yeah.
Okay. Doctor Who?
Okay.
Who?
Okay, so yeah, run, you clever boy. And remember, as she looks right at the camera and at us, the audience, right? That got me, you know? And I think that is the reason, actually, that I didn't really even see this twist coming, you know? In hindsight, it's all there. Though, you know, I think there's a great bit of misdirection there even, right? Because ultimately, you know, through the setup, you could tell that they're expecting the audience to essentially clock that twist even, that she's going to end up being a Dalek human, right? But I think the trajectory is kind of guiding the audience towards the audience, you know, potentially clocking it and thinking that she's going to end up being one of those Daleks inside a human body, right? As established earlier in the episode a few times, right? And once again, through that other character that also happened to be on the crash landing, right? On that ship. But, you know, it kind of flips it, doesn't it? She essentially ends up being a human, or the soul of a human inside a Dalek, right? So, you know, this concept of androids finding out that they are in fact androids and not a human, or, you know, robots or humanoid robots or Terminators, you know, finding out that indeed they are not human, right? You know, I've spoken of this type of idea before. So, I mean, in that sense, it's, of course, it certainly packs that punch, a gut punch, doesn't it? For Jenna Coleman's character. You know, as of this point, I mean, there's a lot of great things in this episode, and maybe some not so great things. I'll get into it. In fact, I felt like this actually even felt more like a mid-series episode rather than a series opener. You know, at the end there, as you'll notice, I was actually expecting some kind of setup, right? But no, it just kind of, you know, our doctor is actually getting to ask the question himself, right? So that in itself felt a little bit special, right? Doctor Who, as he's kind of dancing inside his TARDIS. And of course, you know, that question, that was such a major aspect of the Series 6 finale. It continues here. So, you know, they've already kind of established that it is going to lean into that whole question, the oldest question in the universe, right? You've got Daleks. You've got an army of Daleks, right? You know, I've noticed that somehow Daleks, they kind of just, I don't know, they always kind of end up making a comeback, right? Kind of like an off-screen comeback. Here you have a parliament, you have a prime minister. So yes, that component is a little bit jarring. But, you know, listen, the moment I saw that, okay, it's got a Dalek story, inside, you know, I was kind of like, oh man, is it about to be the same? You know, they'll try to get the Doctor and his companions throughout the episode. They'll get close, but no, right? They'll fail again. But I actually like it's not really a twist, but the approach, right? Right from the beginning, I mean, the Doctor himself is also expecting to be exterminated, right? As he braces himself, squints inside Parliament. Though, you know, I must admit, some of those shots of the Parliament, yeah, great shots. You certainly feel the grand scale of that. But yeah, save us. You know, you have this whole crowd, all of Parliament, you know, full of Daleks. Though I still find it a little bit, I don't know, strange that they do have this system in place, right? Given their disposition. But yeah, you know, I thought it was a good approach, a good take to kind of freshen up the Dalek story, right? Here you have the Daleks asking for help. But essentially, it's kind of like a two birds in one stone situation, right? They're asking for his help, but they're also hoping that he dies in the process as well, right? Though, wow. I mean, by the end of it, through our lovely Oswin, you know, it appears that every single Dalek in existence has forgotten about the Doctor, their biggest, oldest enemy, right? And it's not just an enemy, it's an enemy that they've come to really fear. You know, there's this line of dialogue in that episode as Jenna Coleman's character breaks down, and it's quite the jarring sight and feeling to see a Dalek break down like that, right? Now, again, that's because there's this human soul that's trapped in there. Something about, this is the most I've ever feared you, right? And the look on the Doctor's face, interesting, right? Really interesting. But yeah, as of this point, they all forgot about him. Listen, do I think it's going to remain like this? No. Of course, sooner or later, something is going to happen. Something is going to cause the Daleks to remember, right? This individual, this enemy, they are going to remember. Surely. And, I think coming out of this, one of the biggest or the most exciting components of it is now, how exactly is Jenna Coleman going to come back in, right? Because she is coming back in, right? That's a given. She's meant to be a companion. And I should reiterate that I do know even the name of this companion, Clara. I mentioned it during the reaction, but I'm not sure if that's going to make it into the 10-minute cut. But I do know the name, Clara. So yeah, now I'm thinking of all the possibilities. Is it going to be like a relative? Could it potentially be her mom? Could it be one of those, the Doctor kind of meets her before this happens, or he somehow prevents this from happening, and maybe that could even lead into the Daleks remembering the Doctor once again if he kind of undoes this. But I don't know, a lot of possibilities, or it could just be one of those nods, right, to some of the earlier moments in Doctor Who. There's been a few characters, 3 of them actually, that made an appearance before they actually make an appearance as their definitive role or character on the show. You think of Karen Gillan and Capaldi, both in Fires of Pompeii, as totally different characters, right? One of them comes back as a prominent companion, still going strong here in Series 7. So, I kind of had to reassess my take because, I kind of had to step out of that mindset of thinking, oh, okay, that was a goodbye to Amy and Rory, to that companion pair. No. They're continuing. It's going right into Series 7. So yeah, they're around. But, to me, that's a little bit concerning as well, because a part of me really wanted that goodbye, right? Goodbye in the sense that they've officially kind of parted, but, they're still kind of in contact, right? And, you see those lovely moments continue. It starts off in the Christmas special, right? The Doctor goes to them. It's a beautiful moment, one of the all-time great moments, actually, right? That he has a family, he has a home to go to. Always. And it kind of continues in the Pawn Life miniseries, right? And I thought it was delightful. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, you see that he drops by, he's in contact. So they're always kind of there. That's the thinking I had, right? By the end of Series 6, that they're always going to be there. And then I saw Pawn Life, and I'm like, okay, it continues. But then they get sucked right back in. Right now, again, this is through their association with the Doctor, right? The Daleks, they mention that it's known, right, that the Doctor needs his companions, right? So even the Daleks know this, right? That this individual, their biggest enemy, he needs his companions, right? So I suppose they get the most recent ones, that being Rory and Amy. Though, River Song is also a companion. I'm sure I'll see River Song soon enough. But yeah, they kind of get sucked back in, and that's just one of those things, right? Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. If you know, you know. It's just one of those things, right? Once you do know the Doctor, the Doctor. You're associated with the Doctor and the Doctor's enemies, right? They know about you, and they try to use you against the Doctor. So yeah, even though I do think the Daleks are going to remember at some point who the Doctor really is, it does have that potential now, right? For a few stories, perhaps, for maybe 1 or 2 stories even. A bit of a different direction, I suppose, right? But at the end of the day, the Daleks are still yelling, exterminate, right? They don't know who this individual is, right? Doctor Who. Yet they're still kind of ultimately trying to do the same thing, right? Exterminate. So let's see how any future Dalek stories kind of, play out. There is something, there is some potential there for something unique, perhaps, given that they don't remember the Doctor anymore. And it does kind of play into that whole concept of the Doctor, kind of wanting to step back into the shadows, taking a step back, right? It hasn't happened yet. But yeah, it's a start. It's a start for sure. But kind of going back to that point about actors kind of reappearing as different characters, Capaldi, Karen Gillan, and even Martha. Crap, I can't remember the actress's name, but yeah, even she had a quick appearance, right? In the series 2 finale, was it? And then she appears as Martha. So it could be one of those, right? Could be one of those. But this time it felt like it was more by design rather than, just kind of happened like that, right? I'm sure they didn't know Karen Gillan's going to end up being a companion. I'm sure they didn't know that Capaldi's going to end up being the Doctor back then. But here it feels like, okay, yeah, clearly they know she is meant to be a companion, but they took this approach. So yeah, I'm actually really quite excited to see how she is brought back in, perhaps reincarnation even, right? Honestly, as of this point, the possibilities are just kind of endless, right? I just kind of need to watch more. Now, the thing is, I hope that once she is back, I hope it's this personality, that this character that was put on screen. I thought she was just so delightful. I loved her in this one episode. I actually think she almost kind of stole the show even in this episode. But of course, anytime you have Matt Smith in that role, it's a tough, task to kind of top Matt Smith. But I think she was really quite good in this. Now, listen, I know there's a bit of bias here because, I do find Jenna Coleman quite lovely. And I was really anticipating her appearance on the show as a companion, her entrance as the companion. So I love that this kind of threw me for a loop. This is not the thing I was expecting. And I think that's, to kind of circle back to a point I was making like 10 minutes ago, maybe. I think that's the reason I didn't really quite clock that, she's going to end up being a Dalek until it's about to happen almost. Because, I was just expecting, okay, Jenna Coleman's here now. She's down there, she's going to be rescued, and she's going to continue on the TARDIS, right? That was my expectation. But no, there's a bit of a twist here. Her soul was essentially trapped. I mean, I keep saying her soul was trapped. But yeah, I think that could, you could actually put it in that manner as well, I'd say. But yeah, realistically speaking, though, she was actually completely turned into a Dalek. I felt that you could already kind of see the chemistry, right? Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman. I mean, she was great altogether, essentially. I thought she was charming. She was fun. She was sassy, right? Intelligent, resourceful, really, really lovable, I felt. Yes, bit of bias in there, but I, kind of stepping beyond that, I really feel all of those things I just mentioned. She is companion material, right then and there. That's a great first impression, I think, right? And that's the reason I'm hoping that personality is intact once she does kind of return proper as Clara. So, but as of this point, she played this one episode character, right? That kind of really felt like one of those one episode companions from Christmas specials that really could have been a companion, but it just wasn't meant to be because they died or I don't know, something else happened. Right? Essentially, they can only be a companion for that episode. So it kind of had that feeling, didn't it? But the exciting thing about this one episode companion, is that I do know she returns, or Jenna Coleman returns. Again, it's a bit of a mystery if it is going to be that character or if it's just going to be her as a totally different character, right? Clara. But I'm sure there's something clever. Around this. And she's got everything to make a great companion. Right? So I'll get to see her with Matt Smith for a bit, right? As this is meant to be Matt Smith's last season, final season, series 7. And then I've seen again, in terms of things I've seen some of the, the covers, the Blu-ray covers, I've seen her and Capaldi on a poster or a cover, right? I think one of them's like Capaldi holding her hand, they're kind of running together. I think I saw it on Amazon. Of course, I've stated before that I know about the 50th anniversary, Tennant and Matt Smith on that poster or the cover. I've known her name, Clara. So yeah, I know a few things here and there. Again, it's been around for some time now, so of course you're bound to run into some things, just randomly even. Now, speaking of the current companions, I must admit that it was a little bit concerning, right, to see the direction this storyline is taking. because it felt like it was a bit out of the blue, right? There's just a quick switch that happens in the last part of Pond Life, right? And right up until that part, it was the Amy and Rory I remembered, right? Rock solid relationship, and then boom, switch. That switch happens. Ultimately, I think there was a satisfying resolution to that, little subplot of them separating. But yeah, it did come a little bit out of the blue. I don't think you can really deny that, right? It kind of just, you could see how jarring it was for me, right? Because never did I think that it could go down that path, given how rock solid that relationship's been depicted on screen, right? Now, I'm not saying it's impossible for that to happen. I actually think, yeah, it is. There is logic there. I could see how it could get to that point, and I'll get into that. But the issue is that it came out of the blue. It wasn't given the time that something like that demands, I think. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So yeah, at times it felt quite contrived. It did, as you could tell, I did not like that the moment I see it on screen. For two reasons. First of all, it made me really sad to see that situation. And second reason being, I'm not seeing how it's getting to this point. Now, of course, marriages can kind of break down or fall apart if there's no communication from the spouses, right? Or lack of communication in tricky situations. And that seems to have happened here, right? You see that Amy kind of kept the true reasoning to herself, right? And I think that is kind of in line with her character. They kind of set up all the way back in series 5 in the 11th hour, that she has a lot of trauma even, right? Abandonment issues. She does like to keep things close to her chest. She kind of does have a bit of a shield up. So this whole idea of Amy keeping things bottled up, it's not a new concept, right? It's been set up before. So yeah, deep emotional pain can certainly guide you down that path of doing counterproductive things, right? And you see it on display here, right? Yes, it's a little bit rushed, but you can see it. That's how it kind of played out, right? And then of course, the fact that Rory's always kind of believed, and also, you could argue that in some cases, rightfully so, that their relationship hasn't been kind of like a 50-50 at all times, right? Especially earlier on in series 5, you could see that imbalance. But in his mind, he's always had that, right? This perceived imbalance it's always kind of been there, right? As this crack, potential crack in their relationship. And you see some of these things can kind of, leak through those cracks as they have. And then this kind of going down this path, him believing that, essentially, yeah, it was just a matter of time, that it's kind of caught up to him that she was going to kind of kick him to the curb, right? And then you see some of that resentment that kind of gets built up. And it was tough to watch. It was to see them kind of angry with each other, right? Taking shots at each other, especially, Rory inside the makeup room. Ooh, yeah, it was tough to watch them. But the doctor certainly played his part, brought them together, kind of forced them into talking it out, facing it, right? Because clearly he didn't need the watch thing that whole time. And Rory's kind of like, how come you didn't just tell us? Because he didn't want to tell them. He wanted them to kind of, again, face each other, and communicate. That clearly that was the thing that was lacking, right? And it kind of led to this breakdown. And it's realistic. It is realistic. Like I mentioned, a lot of marriages break down because of the lack of communication, right? Because it can be tough. It can be difficult. As you can see, the topic was a difficult one for Amy, right? That Rory, this person who loves her so much, right? And again, they've mentioned the things he's done for her. I think she felt so guilty that she cannot give him a child, that she felt that she doesn't even deserve him, right? So she's kind of letting him free, wasn't kicking him out, as she mentioned. She was giving him up, and that, again, the exterior, it's this hard facade that she puts on, but inside, of course, that's deeply, deeply painful for her, right? Emotional pain. And of course, she's been through that traumatic experience of losing a child and not being able to have a child again. So, I'm not of the opinion that there should be sides taken here. I think it is understandable how it got to that point. I just feel like it was a little bit rushed. Now, in terms of the concept of this episode, the Asylum of the Daleks, I feel like the setup and the thought of it is much more engaging and exciting than the execution, right? Because the thought and the setup of these uncontrollable Daleks, or the battle-scarred Daleks, you know, the loopy Daleks, and in fact, you know, right at the end of the line, the Doctor kind of gets to meet the ones he put there, right? The ones that are most battle-scarred, right, by the Doctor, right? So that is quite the moment, isn't it? But then, you know, the Doctor against that door, you know, just screaming in fear as they kind of come in on him, right? Whew. You don't see that. You don't see that often, right? To see the Doctor like that. And, you know, it was a rare sight to see Matt Smith's Doctor, the 11th, in that position. But yeah, I felt like there was a lot of really cool potential there. But once they kind of make it down there in terms of the Daleks, right, these defective Daleks, I feel like it didn't really quite live up to the hype, right? I felt like there was even a potential there for some kind of, you know, quirky, loopy Dalek as a companion, right? Because, you know, he's so like fried in the head that he doesn't even realize, or it doesn't even realize that, oh, this is the Doctor, right? Maybe he just kind of joins the party, you know. I must admit, I was thinking of something like that as well, right? You know, like a collection of really colorful, defective Daleks. I didn't really quite get that, but that's on me, I suppose, right? For imagining big. But yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. You know, in terms of Pond Life and the prequel to this, I thought those are really quite enjoyable. And I certainly hope to check out the rest of the prequels to Series 7 as well. Apparently there's quite a few. But yeah, Pond Life, you know, there's even a bit of a teaser, right? Quick flashes of things that are clearly about to play out in the next series, you know, Series 7, perhaps even beyond. But, you know, I saw two things that really stuck out to me. I saw a T-Rex, so some kind of dinosaur story. So that's actually quite exciting. Depending on the time period they actually travel to, you know, given the fact that it's sci-fi and it's Doctor Who, it's most likely going to be, you know, dinosaurs coming to like a future setting. But, you know, I also saw the Doctor and a bunch of people running. There was a female character behind him. I think I saw red hair, so it might have been Amy. I don't think it was Jenna Coleman's character. But yeah, you know, but it was a crowd of them, a bunch of them running, and the Doctor was kind of the focus of that frame. So yeah, you know, exciting times ahead. Hopefully. But yeah, I think that's about it for this one. I thought that was a really great introduction to Jenna Coleman, right? So that has me excited. That's you know, it's a solid introduction to a character that I'm going to be, you know, watching for the next little bit, right? Even after Matt Smith departs. So yeah, exciting, you know, exciting setup. So if you enjoyed this, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in early access or full length, or, you know, some of the prequels are going to be a part of the early access for this one. So yeah, if you're interested in all of that, consider checking out the Patreon page. Links are in the description, the pinned comment. Also, there's links to social media, if that's your thing. Right then, that's about it for this one. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your time, as time is precious. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.